types of forces. No, we have not done types of forces, and this is something again we will expose ourselves to some more interesting topics about force. नहीं, इसमें नहीं करे हैं, टाइप्स नहीं किए हैं बेटा. कांटेक्ट, हाँ वही कांटेक्ट नॉन कांटेक्ट के ही वही करना है, वो करेंगे तो प्रेशर में जाएंगे. ठीक है. So at grade 8 level we look at force from the, so what do we say, force में क्या होता था, little bit of what you call recap. We said that force में we used to have a sort of an interaction, and when that interaction happened you always had two bodies, right? Body 1 and you had a body 2, or body 1, or you can say agent 1. We can call them as agents also, agent 1 and an agent 2, right? Agent 2, and one of them would obviously be the applicant of force, and one of them would also be the recipient, and it is vice versa. It is not necessary that body 2 always has to be recipient. Body 2 can also be the applicant, then the other becomes the recipient. What we are going to study today, is, see, when you study with a mind map, now your concept becomes absolutely clear. We're going to study that between these two, there again can be two facets. You can have a physical contact between them or no contact between them. देखो कितना clear हो गया अभी आपका thought process. If applicant is physically making a contact with the recipient, then the type of force the applicant exerts is called contact force. A type of force that the recipient feels is a contact force. And if the applicant does not make any physical contact with whom? The recipient. Recipient still will be experiencing a force. That sort of force will be known as a non-contact force. So my dear children, based on this preliminary discussion, so we will first study non-contact. It is easy. Non-contact forces. So what are non-contact forces? If somebody asks me, what is the main point out here? We will say no physical contact. Physical contact between the agent and body exerting and experiencing force. You don't have a physical contact between the agent. Have you understood? Physical contact मतलब टच होना ही पड़ेगा. इसको क्यों पहले स्टडी कर रहे हैं? ये आसान है. So the first type of it that we will study is gravitational force. Now this we will study in detail in grade 9. So let's understand gravitational force. What is gravitational force? Now let's say bacha, let's say this is what? This is the यही तो गलती हो गया. This is a celestial body. This is a celestial body. See, why I did not make it Earth, because that's what your book will write, and your then thought process comes one way. Every celestial body, later on you will see, and say this is another body. Every celestial body will attract, right, every other body with a force towards its center, and this force is known as gravitational force. ऐसी कोई बात नहीं कि अर्थ ही होगा, मून भी करेगा, यूरेनस भी करेगा, जुपिटर भी करेगा, सैटर्न भी करेगा, some unknown planet will also do. Question is, it keeps varying from planet to planet or celestial body to celestial body, right? So what do we write? Gravitational force. In your book it will be written as Earth, but so we can write the force of attraction. It's the force of attraction by which a celestial body, and that celestial body, when we write, say we write like Earth, pulls any other body towards its center. वो उसको अपने center की तरफ खींचता है. In fact, Newton, observing that the apple falling and hitting his head, What's the thought process first? एप्पल मेरे सर पे ही क्यों गिरा, एप्पल ऊपर क्यों नहीं गिरा? ये एप्पल तो बहुतों के सर पे गिरा था इससे पहले, किसी को स्ट्राइक नहीं किया. He first started thinking that Earth must be attracting everybody towards its center. अभी हम रेयान को, छोटा रेयान को ऐसे लेके कैसे, ओले मेरा बेटा क्या कर रहा है, ऐसे ऊपर फेंक देंगे तो he will fall, not that he will escape from the Earth's atmosphere. Do you understand? And little bit of higher physics. Do you know that there is a minimum speed with which if I throw Rayan upwards, he will no longer be attracted by the earth. That is called the escape velocity. The velocity at which if you eject something, ये rocket क्यों वापस नहीं आते हैं? Have you seen mission Mangal? उसमें क्या कहते हैं? पहले escape velocity चाहिए. Escape velocity is the minimum velocity with which if you push something, then it gets out of the gravitational field of the earth. अब मुझे कोई नहीं बुलाता है, and that speed is 11.2 kilometers per second. एक सेकंड में कितना चला जाना चाहिए? 11.2. You know that Tipudwar near your Langaros, that is 6 kilometers. So understand what should be 11 kilometers. In 1 second, how much you should go? 11.22 kilometers. इतना स्पीड में अगर आपने किसी चीज को इजेक्ट कर दिया, that thing, and rockets are all ejected with a speed much more than that. They should not be within the gravitational pull of the earth. That's how they go up when we launch all satellites, rockets and other things. ठीक है? Have you understood gravitational force? One interesting thing about this force is that this force will always be attractive in nature. At your grade 8 level इतना काफी है. This is always attractive. ये कभी repulsive नहीं होगा. Means Rayan has to come down on Earth's surface. He cannot escape Earth's surface. Right? This mind map is clear. This mind map is clear. Right? Gravitational. The second one that we study in this head is known as the magnetic force. Okay? Magnetic force of attraction. Magnetic, not attraction. We just call it magnetic force. Not attraction, magnetic force. So we have a magnet out here, like a horseshoe magnet. So this is a north pole and this is a south pole, and you bring another horseshoe magnet such that this is a north pole and this is a south pole. So we will see repulsion between them. And similarly, if you bring a horseshoe magnet, if you change the orientation, this is a north pole and this is a south pole, and you change the orientation here to south pole and north pole, what we will find is a attraction. What is magnetic force? The force experienced due to the magnetic field of a magnet. Force experienced due to the magnetic field of a magnet, magnetic body. Force experienced by a body within the magnetic field of a magnet, within the magnetic field. So it's something like this. See, suppose I am one sadhu baba. I'm a sadhu baba. So there is a region around me where my bhakt mandali sits in front of me. Do you agree or not? And why are the bhakts glued to the sadhu? Try to understand. लिखना बाद में आराम से. भक्त लोग साधु के साथ क्यों glued रहते हैं? भक्त को भक्ति मिलती है towards the sadhu. And just imagine, the more near you are to the sadhu, more is the bhakti. The more far away you are. So every sadhu has a field around it. What is that field? Bhakti ki field. Similarly, every magnet has a magnetic field. The more closer you are to the magnet, the more will be the force either of attraction or repulsion. लेकिन दो फर्क हो जाता है इसमें. Gravitational force is always attractive. Magnetic force can be attractive or it can also be repulsive based on the orientation of the poles. These are called the poles. Poles. Anything you are missing, beta? Magnetic force, the force experienced by a body within the magnetic field of a magnet. Such force can be attractive or repulsive, and this is due to the poles. This को हम poles बोलते हैं. कैसा orientation? And how to remember? Like poles repel. याद रखिए. Unlike poles attract, and like poles will always repel.
What about a normal piece of iron? Gets attracted by.
Yeah, and then after the iron remains within the magnet for some time, it will also get magnetized. It will also develop a pole. Initially, you don't have a pole because अच्छा उसको जानना है तो कैसा रहता है? Inside a magnet, inside magnetic substances, there are two things. I am a magnet, and I am a substance who is not a magnet, but I have a magnetic property. In higher classes, you will learn there are three types of substances: diamagnetic, ferromagnetic, paramagnetic. Ferromagnetic are the substances which will be attracted by magnet. Magnets can always be formed out of iron, cobalt and nickel. यही तीन आपको बड़ा अच्छा, very good. Iron means Fe, cobalt CO and nickel. मैग्नेट इन्हीं तीन के बनते हैं. इसके पास में जब मैं एक substance लाता हूं which is magnetic, it is not a magnet, but it has a magnetic property. Are you understanding? So there are something inside it which we call domains, like some arrows which are said non-aligned. When you bring it with a magnet, arrows are all like this, anyhow, then they get aligned. And this particular piece now also becomes a magnet. Yeah, a magnet, but it's a weak magnet. It will also develop a North Pole and South Pole. Next time, after some time, if you want to bring it in this manner, ये नहीं चिपकेगा. But that magnetization does not remain for a long time. It's temporary. Like if you have costly screwdrivers, their heads are always magnetic. You're supposed to open screws from, say, a tape recorder or a radio or something, and the screw will just come stuck to it. That's a weak magnet, not that strong. Only ferromagnetics will remain their magnetic property for a long time. Like our calling bell, it's an electromagnet. Electricity creates a magnet. Every time the magnet is created, टंग लगता है. जैसे आप switch छोड़ देते हो, कौन magnet? मैं कब magnet बना था? It's like that. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, you've got that goofy होता है ना, doggy, कौन, मैं doggy. So again you press the switch, he becomes a doggy. Pluto होता है ना उसमें. Pluto कहता है ना, he doesn't believe that he's a dog. Doggy, कौन, मैं. So that's electromagnet. In fact, if you want to understand some, मुझे मजा आता है ये सब डिस्कस करके. देखो एक और इंटरेस्टिंग चीज. If you actually keep, you know what is a bar magnet? Yeah. So if you tie a bar magnet and suspend it, वो magnet will measure north south direction. अब ऐसा क्यों होता है? ये भी आपको सोचना चाहिए. हाँ सर, लेकिन अर्थ मैग्नेटिक फील्ड तो समझ में आया. मान लीजिए ये हमारा अर्थ है ना? And you have a magnet. And your magnet is what? Your magnet is a bar magnet, right? आपका bar magnet, your bar magnet is somewhat, रस्सी जब छोड़ देते हो आप ना, आपका bar magnet कुछ ऐसा हो जाता है. It becomes something like this, okay? This is what your magnet, after you, what do you call, you disturb it, ये घूम के ultimately ऐसे आ जाता है. It is always found, now the interesting part of the discussion, that the north pole of this magnet will always be pointing towards the उल्टा बता रहा हूं सुनिए. Now यही तो मजा है ना. रेडी हो सुनने के लिए? बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है, सुनिए. So let's say this is the geographical axis of the earth. ये क्या है? Earth's geographical axis. So Earth's geographical axis में हम लोग इसको कैसे देखेंगे? We would see it in this manner. Don't get lost. Just सुनिए. This is the east of the earth. This is the west of the earth. This is the north of the earth. And this is the south of the earth. Listen to me and everything will become clear. If you take a bar magnet and you point to the north direction and you simply suspend it, रस्सी से suspend करके रखा है, छोड़ दिया, the bar magnet will align like this. It will not align exactly to the geographical north. थोड़ा सा ऐसा north में align करेगा. ऐसा ही क्यों होता है? यही तो reason है ना. हाँ, rotational axis नहीं. Why? No, that is secondary. Why this? This happens because which you will know in, say, next year or in grade 10. This happens because the Earth's core, you have a core of the Earth. The Earth's core also behaves as a big magnet where we have liquid metals. Do you know liquid metals are there? Or liquid metals mein hote hain current. So the Earth's magnet also behaves, Earth's core also behaves as a magnet. Sorry. 1 minute. Right. The core of the Earth also behaves as a magnet. Now you will yourself answer everything correctly. Now, this is known as the magnetic axis of the Earth. There are two axes. In higher classes you will study. One is the geographical axis and one is known as the magnetic axis of the Earth. So definitely if my North Pole has come in this position, Earth's magnet, which is below, its South Pole must be in this direction and its North Pole must be in this direction. Science says so. Have you understood? So this is the magnetic axis, and so this will be the South Pole and this will be the North Pole. So this is known as Earth's, what is this, children? Earth's magnetic South Pole. This is the magnetic South Pole and this is Earth's magnetic North Pole. Have you agreed? And the one that you keep studying in geography, this is Earth's geographic North Pole. Understood? And this is the Earth's geographic South Pole. Keep this very clear in your mind. This is the geographic South Pole. Now say for example, I have a magnetic compass. I have a magnetic compass. What's a magnetic compass? My magnetic compass is something like this. This is my magnetic compass, and in my magnetic compass I will have an arrow. That arrow needle is nothing but it is also a bar magnet. And how is the arrow? The arrow is something like this. Sorry. The arrow will be something like this, which will have a head, and the arrowhead will always be pointing. ऐसे दिखाता है आपका magnetic compass. और magnetic compass इसका मतलब किस डायरेक्शन में दिखा रहा है? The magnetic compass is actually pointing where? It is pointing, we feel that it is pointing at north. Magnetic compass, don't make that noise. Magnetic compass does not point at north. Magnetic compass always points some degree. This degree is around 18 degree के आसपास difference है. ये higher classes में आप पढ़ेंगे. This is, the magnetic compass is not pointing at north. The magnetic compass is pointing little bit ahead, because the magnetic compass points where? Points at the South Pole. So जो आप वहम लेते हो ना, sir, I think if I use a magnetic compass, I will be, can you keep the scale, child? That disturbs me. Leave the scale and pay attention to the class. Okay. So if you see from the, this is so nice topic. You feel where you're a sailor with a boat. You want to go where? You want to go to the Arctics. You want to go north. So where is the north? The north is here. Where does the magnetic compass point you? Little bit away from the north. The sailor maps always has this correction with them. And modern mobiles and all, where you have magnetic compass, this correction is inbuilt. Have you understood? So when we talk about pole star, how did this thing originate? In China and all, these were known as lodestone. These materials were known as lodestone. Why? Because that piece of stone, if it is pivoted, it used to point towards the lodestar. Lodestar is another name for pole star, which in Sanskrit we call as Dhruv Tara. And where is the pole star? The pole star is always here at the pole. तो आपका magnetic compass exact north नहीं दिखाता है. What does it show? Slightly away from north. Why does it show like that? Because the Earth's magnetic axis is little bit different from its geographic. हम सोचते हैं कि ये दोनों axis एक साथ है. ऐसा नहीं है. So next time when you take a physical magnetic compass and you feel that it is north or not, and if you sail in this direction, you won't go to Arctic. आप थोड़ा सा रशिया की तरफ चले जाएंगे. ये interesting चीज है. And why does it point? And this is what? This is also a bar magnet. So our question arises, in a needle, what is this pole of the needle? North pole. What is this pole? South pole. And why is the needle actually showing it in this orientation. The needle actually shows it in this orientation because below the needle earth we have got what we call as the earth's magnet, and the earth's magnet always points in this direction. So for the earth, अगर हम earth के लिए बात करें, this will be the earth's south pole and the earth's north pole. Bar magnet का north pole on. Is this concept clear? No, the magnetic axis of the earth is different from the geographic axis of the earth. When you say you want to sail north, you want to go here. But if you use a compass, the compass will take you where? थोड़ा सा दूर ले जाएगा आपको. इसमें difference है. I think it's around 18 degree के आसपास difference है between the magnetic pole and the geographic pole. So what is in atlas and geography? What do we call this? Earth's geographic north pole. What is this in magnetic language? Earth's magnetic south pole. इसीलिए तो needle इस तरफ दिखाता है. समझ में आया बच्चा? ये कॉन्सेप्ट्स आप 10 में जब पढ़ोगे तब आपको कितना इजी लगेगा. ये 10 में पढ़ाते हैं, ये आप अपने अभी जान लो, क्या मुश्किल है. Sarvesh, enjoyed this? So always remember, below you is a magnet, and that magnet is always oriented opposite to the bar magnet. That's why bar magnet ऐसे घूमता है. Clear? बना लीजिए. And once we are done with this, we need to study our next what do you call? No. Next non-contact force, electrostatic force है ना अभी भी. वो आप कैसे छोड़ सकते हैं? How you people can be so निर्दयी? Electrostatic force. चलिए आगे धीरे धीरे. डोंट वरी, ये तो ऐसे भी रिकॉर्डेड है, क्लास नोट्स भी जाएगा, आप घर पे भी बना सकते हैं बैठ के, नहीं तो हम खत्म नहीं कर पाएंगे. Drawings should always be neat and clean. Electrically charged bodies. ड्राइंग बोलते याद आया, मिश्का ने देखा था ना वो माय कॉपीज. या यू सो, आई शोड यू. डिड आई नॉट शो यू? आई शोड यू माय प्रैक्टिकल कॉपीज. या अभी क्या ने नहीं देखा है, आज दिखाएंगे. My copies, my school days copies are here also. Okay, so this is electrically charged body. So let's understand this. This is anyway not in your course. This was for your interest purpose. You can anytime find it in the recording also. So what is electrostatic force? So our electrostatic force can be the force of, it can be the force of attraction, okay, or repulsion. यहाँ पे भी दो केस आता है. It can be either a attractive force or it can be a repulsive force, right? And this force is there between whom? Electrically charged bodies. And what is the funda? Like charges repel, unlike charges attack. And charges are one concept, positive and negative charges. वहां क्या होता था? North pole and south pole. तो इस केस में क्या हो जाएगा? Attraction आएगा. इस केस में कैसा हो जाएगा? Repulsion आएगा. इसमें कैसा आएगा? Repulsion आएगा. So here also we say like charges repel and unlike charges attract. But there is a very nice concept between magnetization and electrical charges. You know, unipole charges exist. ये higher physics है. Unipole means in physics we have said that a single positive charge can exist, a single negative charge can exist, but unipoles in magnets don't exist. इसका मतलब क्या है? मिश्का के पास, हाँ मिश्का के पास ऐसा एक बार मैग्नेट है नॉर्थ साउथ, उसने आज जाके घर पे इसको निकल पोल नहीं, उससे घर जाके इसको हैक्सो ब्लेड से काट दिया। काटने के बाद उसने सोचा कि मैंने नॉर्थ और साउथ अलग किया। ना ना मिश्का, ये फिर यहाँ नॉर्थ बनाएगा, यहाँ साउथ, यहाँ नॉर्थ बनाएगा, यहाँ साउथ। सो यूनिपोल्स इन मैग्नेट डोंट एग्जिस्ट, बट यूनिपोल्स इन चार्ज एग्जिस्ट। क्या एक पॉजिटिव चार्ज मिल सकता है? मिल सकता है। क्या एक नेगेटिव चार्ज मिल सकता है? मिल सकता है। कैन यू गेट वन नॉर्थ पोल अलोन? नेवर। कैन यू गेट वन साउथ पोल अलोन? नेवर. Is this understood? This concludes contact forces. Sorry, non-contact. What all did we study? Gravitational force exerted by any celestial body like Earth, in which the body is pulled towards its center. Then we saw magnetic force, force exerted due to the magnetic field of a magnet. Anything within the vicinity of a magnet, if the field is strong enough, magnet उसको चपक करके बुला लेगा, है ना? Understood? अच्छा, एक और भी हो सकता है. Say suppose this is a small magnet, and this is iron. This is an iron block, and we actually pin the iron block. Now iron will not go, magnet आ जाएगा इसके पास, as long as the magnet is हल्का फुल्का. जो कमजोर होता है वही तो गुलाम बनता है ना. It's original, no? That's why sun pulls the earth, earth pulls the moon, moon pulls the satellite, other satellites towards itself. Clear? Shall we go to non-contact forces अभी? आइए. हो गए कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्सेस. हाँ सर बुड्ढे हो रहे हैं ना. सो कॉन्टैक्ट में कैसा रहेगा? फर्स्ट विल से कॉन्टैक्ट में देयर विल बी कॉन्टैक्ट बिटवीन द फिजिकल कॉन्टैक्ट विल बी देयर. सो राइट डाउन कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्सेस. So in contact forces, what we will have? Physical contact. Physical contact between what all? The agent and the body. The agent, the one who is applying the force, and the body who is experiencing the force. Right. There has to be a contact. Number one, the first type of this force is like, say, applied force. Applied force. In one shell, we can also find that the muscular force also falls in this category. Muscular force. Muscular force is the force which is arising due to the contraction or the relaxation of the muscle fibers. Right? You give muscle force. हम जो force देते हैं ना, तो our expands. हम अपने तरफ लाते हैं तो we are relaxing the muscles. And when we are pushing something in a gym, we are actually stretching our fibers. Stretch and contract. This is due to muscular force arises due to the contraction or the extension of muscle fibers. Typically you'll find as a weightlifter, you know, you are lifting the weight, so you're stretching in this direction, है ना. weightlifter ऐसे stretch करता है, so you are actually stretching. आप ऐसे stretch कर रहे हो, extension हो रहा है. And any applied force. Applied force means, let's say, any applied force can be anything, beta. Let's say we have a table, and on that table you are applying a force through a bat or through a stick. This is an applied force. For an applied force, there has to be what? Contact forces. So even if you see, if you take a nut, let's say take our favorite example of a nut. This is our nut, and if you see your spanner is in this motion. Your spanner is applying a force, and the force is always acting tangentially. आप ऐसे घुमाते हो ना, तो force कैसे आ रहा है? Tangentially आना शुरू करता है nut पे. So this is also a contact force. The spanner has to be in contact with this particular nut. Understood? Applied force, muscular force. Let's see some interesting forces. Number two, let's see a force which is known as tension force. Tension force. Tension. कह रहे हैं ना, मुझे टेंशन मत दो. Don't give me tension. What does tension force actually mean? हाँ नहीं, स्ट्रेच में नहीं, टेंशन का फिजिक्स में अपना एक एग्जाम्पल है, पहले उस एग्जाम्पल को समझते हैं. सो लेट्स से आई हैव अ पीस ऑफ थ्रेड, I have a rope which is hanging like this, just hanging like this. First understand, is this rope subjected to any sort of load? No, this rope is not subjected to any sort of load. जब तक इस पे लोड नहीं है, इसमें कोई टेंशन नहीं है. Clear? Now let's say we take the same piece of what you call rope, लेकिन हाँ, लेकिन स्ट्रेच नहीं. अब देखते हैं, अब कुछ ऐसा है. 1 मिनट चिल्ड्रन. अब रोप कुछ ऐसा है. ऐसा रोप क्यों है? क्योंकि यहां पे बैठा हुआ है इंसान का प्यारा सा दोस्त, एक बंदर लटका हुआ है यहां पे, ठीक है. एंड द पोर्शन आफ्टर द बंदर, इट इज अगेन लूज. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. टिल द बंदर हैज ग्रिप्ड इट, द मंकी हैज ग्रिप्ड इट. नाउ डू यू सी द रोप स्ट्रेच्ड? Yes. So let us try and understand why does it get stretched and why is the monkey not falling? इसको अगर मैं आपके घर पे, you have sewing threads है आपके घर पे, sewing thread पे बंदर को लटकाने से क्या होगा? Now do you understand what is making a thing from science perspective? Tension is, who is holding the monkey? ग्रेविटी तो मंकी को अपनी तरफ बुला रहा है, आओ मंकी आओ, मंकी प्लीज कम टुवर्ड्स मी. फिजिक्स एंड साइंस इज अबाउट थिंकिंग. हु इज होल्डिंग द मंकी? कोई तो मंकी को पकड़ रहा है ना. ब्रांच नहीं तो रॉड ले लो, रॉड का टूटने का. आप यहां पे आप सोच नहीं रहे हो, सोचने से आपको आंसर आ जाएगा. देखो ये मंकी तब तक, इज दिस मंकी बीइंग अट्रैक्टेड टुवर्ड्स द अर्थ? Yes, the monkey has to be attracted towards the earth. Then the monkey is stationary. That means we have to balance this force. Don't you think we have to balance this force? ये नीचे खींच रहा है कोई, तो इसको ऊपर से कोई खींचने वाला चाहिए ना, तब वो नहीं यहाँ पे रहेगा, नहीं तो नीचे नहीं गिर जाएगा, नीचे गिर जाएगा. तो इसको ऊपर उठाने के लिए किसको लाते हैं हम? इसको ऊपर उठाने के लिए हम एक और फोर्स पैदा करते हैं, ये. And my basic knowledge says that what is this? This should be the weight of the monkey, which is the gravitational force, the weight of the monkey. This must be balanced by something. This force is known as tension. इस थ्रेड के पास एक टेंशन है. Once the tension has been overcome, monkey की जगह अगर हम elephant ले आते, so the tension of the tension is limited to something. Once the tension force has been overcome, धागा क्या हो जाएगा? हक करके फटेगा, मंकी नीचे गिरेगा. The weight of the monkey is no more being able, that rope's tension is no more able to balance the weight of the monkey. इसके जगह में अगर मैं हिपोपोटेमस लटका दूं तो थ्रेड फट नहीं जाएगा. So have you understood what is tension? Tension is a force which acts on a rope opposite to the direction of the weight. Weight किस तरफ एक्ट कर रहा है? नीचे की तरफ. इसको हम हायर क्लासेस में ऐसे पढ़ाते हैं, लाइक व्हेन यू गो टू 11 यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई लॉट ऑफ टेंशन फोर्सेस. हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई टेंशन? वेयर डू यू वांट टू आइडेंटिफाई द टेंशन? हियर वेयर द मंकी इज. स्टैंड देयर एंड ओपन एन अम्ब्रेला. Stand there and open an umbrella. Which direction am I applying the umbrella, opening the umbrella? Upwards. Tension ऊपर की तरफ. टेंशन हमेशा ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में. ऐसे आप जैसे डबल डबल पुलिस रहेगा हायर क्लासेस में, आप देखोगे दो दो टेंशन आ रहा है. टेंशन इज ऑल्सो ए कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्स. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? एंड दिस मंकी इज एक्चुअली, द मंकी इज एक्चुअली ग्रिपिंग द रोप and the monkey is applying a force on the rope which is equal to its weight, and the tension of the rope is balancing this particular weight. तब तक monkey यहां रहेगा. अरे छोड़ देगा. Tension comes into play, अपने आप नहीं आएगा. Tension will come into play when you apply the load. Is there any tension now? No. Relaxed. Now go to medical science. Relaxed mindset. No tension. तुम लोग इतने बदमाशी करते हो तो पेरेंट्स को क्या दे रहे हो? टेंशन दे रहे हो. इतना लोड ज्यादा दे देते हो और टेंशन मत दो. टेंशन माने ये फटने लग गिटार. We keep tightening the guitar, ding dong ding 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 dong ding 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 ding. After some time, if you tighten more, करके फटेगा. Tension. And something when it is in tension, it has energy. Bow को बांध के रखा, stretch कर दिया, ताम करके जाएगा. Have you understood? So one is tension. A tension force. Tension force is the force. Tension is the force which you can give these as example. Nobody will ask you for definition. Tension is the force which arises in a string when it is loaded. Not only string. Tension can arise even in a bar also. ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि string में ही होता है. एक प्लास्टिक बार में भी हो सकता है, ट्री के ब्रांच में भी हो सकता है. Whenever a body is loaded, tension acts in the opposite direction. Okay, आइए third type of देखते हैं. Third type we call is a reaction force. Now what is a reaction force? Reaction force को जानने के लिए ये एग्जांपल देखते हैं. Let's say okay, so let's say I have got a table. This is my table. And yeah, this is my table. Now on this table, what I did on this table, I kept a very heavy grade 12 book on it. Some physics book I have kept on it. समझ में आया बेटू? इस ड्राइंग को थोड़ा सा इजी करके आपको दिखाते हैं so that you can understand it now. This is in 3D, so in 2D you will be able to understand. Let's say this is the surface of the table, and on the surface of the table I have kept a heavy physics book on it. Right. Question arises, does the table break? No. Why does not it break? सवाल आता है, why is the table not breaking? Apply now go again with your common sense. Don't you think that the book has got some weight? So the weight is nothing but how earth is pulling you. So the book is being pulled by the earth's center. Then why is the table not breaking? Then why is the table not breaking? Some counter force the table must be giving. हमेशा याद रखिए, yes, normal force, which is known as the reaction force, and reaction force or normal force will always act perpendicular to the surface. So this reaction force, also known as beta 1 minute, this will also be known as the normal force. So in some book they will write as normal reaction. बोलिए. From the bottom to the up. जब तक वो बैलेंस नहीं, आप सोचो ना, आप मुझे खींच रहे हो, मैं फिर भी आपके पास नहीं जा रहा हूं, इसका मतलब क्या है? मैं भी आपको खींच रहा हूं. If I am not applying any forces have to be balanced in order that you have stable equilibrium. Now go back to your, what did you learn? Is this book in stable equilibrium? Yes. Is a force acting on it? Yes. Mother Earth is saying, book आ जाओ मेरे पास. Book नहीं आ रहा है. कौन force act करा रहा है? This particular tabletop, whenever there is a contact, see, in higher classes you will study that whenever there is a contact between two surfaces, then there will be a force which will be exerted by the bottom surface on the top surface perpendicular, and this force is known as the normal reaction. Now let's change our example. इस बुक के जगह अगर इस टेबल में हाथी को बिठा देते तो टेबल टूट जाएगा. So this makes us understand one more thing, that the normal reaction has a limit. Sit on me, baby, and I do push-ups with you. Sit on me, baby. Baby has grown bigger. Now in what grade? Grade 4. Sit on me, baby. Baby has now been replaced by elephant's baby. What happens? These two joints fracture. Normal reaction का एक लिमिट है. लिमिट के ऊपर अगर इसके ऊपर मैं खड़ा हो सकता हूं भी नहीं, ये टूट जाएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि इसका नॉर्मल रिएक्शन है. बट इसके ऊपर एक छोटा सा लैप का पपी रखेंगे तो that lap puppy will be happily on this, because the normal reaction can balance the weight. Whenever you see anything that is in an equilibrium right now, stable equilibrium, that means normal reaction has balance. That camera is on top of that wooden plank, so the camera's weight is enough for the normal reaction of the wooden plank. If I replace that camera with a 10 kg Ashirwad atta packet, Will that wooden plank stay? No. In that case, the weight has exceeded the normal reaction. So this is also a type of contact force. Why contact force? Normal reaction always happens at the contact surface, perpendicular to the surface. हमेशा 90 degree पे ही आएगा. So when you have a car on a road, car has how many wheels? 4 wheels. Each of the wheel is exerting the total weight of the car divided by 4. Suppose car is 200 kg, 50, 50, 50, 50, चारों दे रहे हैं. और जहां normal, and you now take the car on a muddy field, agricultural field, गाड़ी धस जाएगा नीचे because the ground is no more able to give you normal reaction. Are you understanding? वहीं अगर हम सर्वेश का बचपन का काट में लेके बाबा ऐसे ऐसे लेके, if we take him to the agricultural field, nothing happens because the weight of the cart is not enough. Clear? तो ये हो गया. कितना देखा आपने? Applied force देखा, tension force देखा, then you have seen reaction. Reaction is also known as normal force. Let's see one more, which is called air resistance. What is air resistance? Air resistance के लिए आप लोग अभिज्ञा को साइकिल में बिठाएंगे. Wow. This is अभिज्ञा. साइकिल में बिठा दिया. Wow. एक ponytail उड़ रहा है and she's pedaling the cycle, है ना? So what does she feel? She will always feel as if air is hitting on her face. Won't you, beta? This is known as air resistance. This is, sorry, air resistance, and air resistance is also a contact force. What is the agent here? Air. And the air is making a force on her, exerting a force on her body. This is known as air resistance. Do we have air resistance in all cases? Yes, obviously we have air resistance. This you will study in the chapter friction. When we study friction, we'll get into it. Now, is air resistance a good thing if I am a car designer? No, my car will not be able to pick up speed. So if you look at the shape, then एक bus का shape कैसा होता है? The bus has got a big rectangular front. So bus faces a lot of air resistance. वहीं जब हम गाड़ी बनाते हैं, गाड़ी को कैसा shape देते हैं? Streamlined shape देते हैं, ऐसा whale की जैसा, ताकि जो air है वो ऊपर से pass कर जाए. Aircraft के nozzle को देखा है आपने? ऐसा रहता है. Fighter aircrafts को देखा है? जितना आप ऐसे, and then even later on you'll study, like say if we take Ryan now and put him into the swimming pool like this, see, ऐसे लेके फेंक दो, रायन को ऐसे गिराओ, सपाट करके गिरेगा, चोट लगता है. डाइवर कैसे गिरता है? पूरा ऐसे करके. यू हैव टू मेक योर बॉडी ऑलमोस्ट लाइक अ लाइन, स्ट्रीमलाइन, लाइक अ लाइन. द मोर यू मेक इट लाइक अ लाइन, उतना ही कम चोट आपको लगेगा, उतना ही आप स्पीड से अंदर जा सकते हैं. दिस इज कॉल्ड एयर रेजिस्टेंस. आफ्टर दिस there is one more force on which we have almost a chapter, and that is known as friction. What is friction? Friction is a force that will always oppose motion. That will always oppose motion, number one. And number two, there has to be what we call as contact. Friction होने के लिए the two surfaces always have to have contact. Friction will actually help you as a friend, and it will be also your enemy. In friction chapter, you'll see friction will help you as a friend. Friction will also be your enemy. Enemy when you don't want friction to happen, like wear and tear. Your sandals keep on getting worn out. Why? That is due to friction. Let's see now the example of friction. First, let us understand what is friction. So let's say we have a surface like this, and on this surface we have another surface which has been kept. Right? Question arises, is this block, and let this be a plane surface, horizontal. Does the block slide over this block? No, the block does not slide over this block. Now, who is preventing the block not to slide on this? There has to be something called friction. Imagine in an ice skating ring, if you keep another ice block, वो swing करके चला जाएगा. Whether it is slanted or not, it will go. Here it doesn't go. That means something is locking it. What locks it? Friction locks it. So when we go to frictions chapter, we will see friction is something which will always oppose motion. Motion चाहते हो? मैं तुम्हें करने नहीं दूंगा. Okay, let's say now we make it more interesting. and say we have a person out here, and this person is now trying to pull this particular item towards himself. So he is applying a force, sorry. So he is applying a force in this direction. He's trying to pull it. आपको क्या लगता है पुल करने से आ जाएगा? It doesn't come. पुश करने से भी नहीं आएगा इनिशियली, इतना आसान नहीं है. Try to push that, what you call washing machine. Pull that washing machine. Will it come immediately? No. Who is not allowing it to come? Friction. Friction is a force which will always act opposite to the direction of motion. That means friction acts along the contact force. But there is a question. Friction is also a limiting force. When we go to friction, we'll study there's a limiting force. It is not that you will not be able to do.
The minutes.
So you can overcome friction. Once you overcome friction, what do you get? Motion. इसलिए हम कहते हैं in literature, motion होने के लिए friction होना जरूरी है. दो लड़कों में दोस्ती तब अच्छा होता है जब पहले वो झगड़ लेते हैं. You will see the one with whom you fight first in the class, that child generally becomes your very good friend later on. We didn't get to know each other. Not, and if somebody is continuously fighting, वो तो friend नहीं होगा. But somebody, hey, you know, we had fought once in grade 8, but today we are such good friends. Motion होने के लिए friction जरूरी है. And in friction chapter, we will see there is something called static friction. When the washing machine is kept, it is difficult to move it. Once the washing machine has moved, then it is easy to keep on moving it. And at that time, Abhigya comes in front of us. We get irritated. Because we know if it stops, again, so sliding friction is much more less than static friction. And then Ryan says, you guys are working like fools. Why don't you put rollers on that particular washing machine? That is called rolling friction. That is even the least. Rolling friction ke baad to our Mishka can also put stilettos heels, and like a hep girl, I'm going to the airport today. She pulls her luggage. Why? Luggage is very heavy. Can she pull the luggage on her own? No. But once you put those wheels, those caster wheels, the luggage becomes easy to move, no matter how heavy the luggage is. Aren't you able to take it? उसी के wheels खोल दो तो और मिश्का को बोलो ऐसे जाइए. हाँ, I'm Indigo that flight. I'm coming at the boarding. ऐसे जा सकते हो आप? नहीं. That's why they say the wheel is a very big invention by the man. Wheel में क्या होता है? Rolling friction. Friction depends upon the surface area. इसको move करना easy है. इसको move करना मुश्किल है. So imagine when the box was on the ground, you had a huge surface area in contact. Therefore, our Mishka was sweating. Now, when the box has been replaced by caster wheels, what is the contact? Each caster wheel is having only a point contact. Only a point contact. Lesser the contact, lesser the friction, body moves. But now put it in the opposite direction. Our girl is also wearing stilettos. Stilettos means how much is her contact with the ground? This much. इसको थोड़ा धक्का मारो गिर जाएगी. वहीं अगर हमारी बच्ची एकदम ऐसा सैंडल पहन के आए, धक्का मारो मैं नहीं गिरूंगी, because she is क्रॉक्स पहनता है तो the contact is more. So friction depends always upon 2-4 things. We'll see how much is the heaviness, the mass, the contact. So friction opposes motion, always opposes. Okay, friction opposes motion, and friction happens due to a contact. Have you understood? And the direction of friction will always be opposite. तुम यहाँ जाना चाहते हो. Now it can be your friend, it can be your enemy also. Friend, how do I walk? I walk because there is friction. Had there been no friction, I would have been moonwalking. Grippy nahi hai na. You wear socks and put talcum powder. Don't do that. Put talcum powder on the floor. Try to walk. धड़ाम से गिरोगे. Grippy नहीं है. Friction नहीं होता तो मैं तो इसको पकड़ ही नहीं पाता. Swing. Nails would not have been on the wood. Friction ही नहीं है. Put a nail in butter. Butter में nail डालो. रहेगा. Friction is your friend. How are you holding things? How are we writing? Friction. How is the car braking? Tires on the road. Friction. और friction गर्मी ले आता है. Heat cause करता है. Friction as my enemy. My sandals wear out. Moving parts of my car wear out. Due to what? Friction. Again, you will see a weightlifter. The next competitor from India, now attempting 120 deadlift. He will first take some. There was huge concentration. Now trying for 120. What do? Friction. Friction nahi hoga to it will keep on slipping. Have you understood? Now, we call it friction when actually the two bodies, out of the two body, one among the other body, or say I should not write bodies now, one amongst the other body is a solid. Solid means, let's say, the floor. What is the floor is a solid. Now if you replace this solid with a fluid, now what is a fluid? Fluid is something that flows. So what are the common examples of fluid? One can be water and one can be air. At that time, ये जो friction है ना, इसका नाम change हो जाता है. इसको हम बोलते हैं drag force. Drag force. Have you tried to walk on inside a swimming pool? What is the medium? Fluid, liquid. Does it make you easy to walk in a swimming pool? No. Something is pulling you back. Drag force. Try to walk against the storm. Huge wind is blowing, and how do we go? मैं आ रहा हूं, रुको, कोशिश करो, अरे वहां मत जाना. Drag force. Drag force becomes beneficial for a sail. Sailing करते हैं ना? At that time, the drag force is what it takes the yacht along. Drag force is also very, very unwanted for an aircraft. Then they call it what? Headwinds are coming. Therefore, fighter aircraft will have absolutely that pointed nozzle. They don't want that much of surface. Bus ko drag force disturb karta hai. If too much of drag force is there, at that time you'll see the aircraft is not able to land straight. The aircraft is actually landing in a slanted manner. If you want to watch those videos, go to YouTube and type crosswind landing. Hong Kong is famous for that. You'll get afraid. The aircraft is not landing straight. It is landing aise, and somehow it is keeping its balance, and then it is landing. It's called crosswinds. All those are an example of drag. Does a whale face drag? Yes. So how was the nature gifted whale? Streamlined body. Does a crow face drag? Yes. What is the body of a crow? Streamlined. And just like the crow's body is the aircraft's body, we make it streamlined. So friction is the force that opposes motion. It's a contact force. Drag is also a contact force. So isko, I don't know, air resistance was what? Number kitna tha? Air resistance was number 4. So friction is, you can take as number 5. देखो कितने सारे examples हमने देखे. Drag को आप 6 लिख सकते हैं. Drag is the force of friction which happens between a body and a fluid. Now take Ryan and we make him walk in a pool which has got fresh cow dung. Like a porridge. How it will be? So that is hell. And we take him to heaven. We make him walk in milkmaid. Nestle's milkmaid. That is also Gada. So he keeps on walking, and whatever sticks to his body, he licks also. It is tasty, and he walks. But he can't lick. But when he licks, he'll be having cow dung as a royal gala treat. But both are giving you an example of what? Drag force. Clear hua? Now, with this, we slowly come to the end of force. If we now try to revise, what all did we learn in force? We first learned what is force. Little bit modifying ourselves from the previous knowledge, like the force is a push and pull. It's an interaction between two bodies. It's an external influence, or it's an influence which makes a body feel either it is being pushed or it is being pulled. Force SI unit is Newton. Force is a vector quantity because it needs a magnitude as well as a direction. और क्या पढ़ा मिश्का हमने? Characteristics of force. Force can bring a body from rest to motion, motion to rest, change the speed and direction of a moving body, can change the shape of a body. इतना पढ़ा. फिर हमने देखा कुछ like forces and unlike forces, though not in our much in our syllabus. We understood how does a couple work, how does a torque work. Then we understood that if you have equal and opposite forces, okay, unlike for equal and opposite forces, then the body will, net force is always 0, but does not mean that the body will be in equilibrium unless the line of action matches. If the line of action does not match, then there will be a rotational motion in that body, right? Then we also understood what is pivot. Pivot is the point. Yeah, we understood what is an arm, what is a pivot. Okay, then what is a torque. Then we went on and we got to classify forces under 2 categories, contactual and non-contactual. Contact means there has to be a physical contact between the applicant and the recipient, and or the agent and the body. And in non-contact forces, there won't be any physical contact at all. Non-contact forces are of three types: gravitational, which is always attractive; magnetic, which can be attractive as well as repulsive; electric, which can be attractive as well as repulsive. Electric force is the force of attraction between electrically charged bodies. Like charges repel, unlike charges attract. Magnetic force is the force of attraction when a body is within the vicinity of the magnetic field of a magnet. And like poles will always attract. No, like poles will always repel. Unlike forces will always attract. So this is done. Then we went to what? Then we went to contact forces, and we first started with an applied force, when force which is applied. And an applied force can happen with a hand on a table, a spanner on a nut, or me pulling his hair, or me pulling his hand, everything. That is all applied force, right? Then also one type of force was muscular force of our body. The muscular force arises due to the contraction or the relaxation or the extension of our muscles, which is also a contact force with which we can also give an applied force. Then we studied about what is tension force. Tension force applies when a member has been member. It can be a thread, it can be a bar, it can be a platform. When any member is loaded, once you are loaded, to balance that load, tension. अभी हम लोग बैग लेके जाते हैं ना, bag has got those ear loops. You all have that. What do you need nowadays? You see in your home the blanket and the big basket bags are coming, paper bags. Do you think you can take anything in those paper bags? No. If you take 2-3 Coca-Cola bottles, then you will find that the bag has given off. And where does it give off? You will always see at the loop. At the loop, bottom में पहले निकल loop में क्या हो गया? Tension fail कर गया. Means the weight of the Coca-Cola bottle is more than the tension that paper fiber can give. But instead of that, if I had 250 grams of lady finger or bhindi, then I'm happily about to carry it. That's one nice example. And then the entire load at the end of the day is being pulled by whom? You. So the tension is now in your muscle fiber. So if you give a baby to carry those big, now say our bag is very strong. We have got good jute bags with us, but the bags are having 25 kilos of what? Rice in them. And now we ask a boy of grade 4 to pick them up. He's unable to pick up. Why? Because he cannot, his muscles cannot have that much of tension. Load to नीचे जा रहा है ना, muscle में फट जाएगा उसका हाथ. So now you understand. So muscle fibers do not have that much. So all forces are getting interlinked one by the other. Then we come to reaction force. Reaction force is given by any surface normal to the contact surface. Normal to the contact. When one body has been kept on another body. Now say, let's for example, I push this wall. Reaction force will always push the reaction force नहीं, अगर ये paper का wall होता है तो if I push, I also go inside. Why am I not going inside? Because the reaction force. Now when I use a drill and a drilling machine, then the drilling machine, the force that the drilling machine is exerting is much more than the reaction force. As a result, you are able to penetrate into the wall. Understood? But the reaction force will always be perpendicular to the direction of the contact surface. Next. Okay, this is done. Tension done. Reaction force done. After that, we went to friction. Friction as a force will always oppose motion. So wherever is the direction of motion, friction always acts opposite. Friction can act when you are steady or when you are in motion. Motion में भी friction है, लेकिन कम है. And friction depends upon the sliding area. If you actually keep a, see, you should ask in earlier days, let's say this is a block of stone in Egypt, and he's the pharaoh who wants me, I'm a slave, build that pyramid for me. Crane है क्या तभी Egypt में? Crane नहीं है. There's no crane. So what we slaves used to do, we used to place bamboo or something on this. Now see, ये आगे आया. Is the movement easy? Friction. And then you take this out and you put in front. थोड़ा और आगे लाओ, इसको सामने लाओ. थोड़ा और आगे लाओ, इसको सामने. ऐसे करके भी सामान लिया जा सकता है. Friction has been, that's how things used to move in earlier days. The pulley, the wheel. Friction, when the, what you call, the surface is actually, one of the applicant is not solid, then we call it a drag force. When it's fluid. Fluid is something that flows. Either can be water or air. And to take care of this, we streamline. That we'll study in friction chapter. Then air resistance. Air resistance is example of what? Drag. Drag. ये fluid है और ये हमेशा. Is the air resistance always an enemy for you? No. If I'm a sailor, the air resistance is my friend. I want the winds to blow. Then only my boat sails, because then the drag pulls my boat along that direction. And if I am going against the drag, then what I have to do? Mehnat karo re bhaiya, mehnat karo re bhaiya. And if the air is not in my direction. So this closes force. So I will see if I can get a worksheet of force, which I'll now ask you to do. It may have written questions or something specific. Usually we get force and pressure together. Is there any other questions that anyone has to ask? All fine. Mishka, now you understood how to see those. So in our next class, we will be meeting and we go back to rational numbers. And in rational numbers, now we will have questions where we will be doing multiplicative inverse. Right? Okay. So force is done. Your job now to study from Lakbir Singh and make your notes and see whether there's anything either from your school or something that you feel I have not touched, or you feel that has not been covered. We can discuss that. But I'll try to make a worksheet for you. That worksheet, please submit to me. Aram se likhiye. Take your time. I'm not saying that it will be not a big worksheet, but try to do that, solve that worksheet. These are for your self-practice. These are for generic awareness. If you have been able to do those, that means you have understood the concept. Okay? Right? So shall I close the recording?